United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Greg Claypool.
Here.
Emily Sayers.
Here.
Sarah Fraley.
Present.
James Moore.
Here.
Laura Cardosi.
Here. Steve called last minute. They all had flu. We don't want it here. We'll pass. I have an update on, well, I just started doing updates several months ago, just to transparency, things I learned at mayor's meetings and things. So I have an update on, from the mayor's meeting. There was, Erlanger had talked about the Erlanger Park, just so if anyone wants to go there, I think this summer a lot of it should be done. They're having a pump track, which I had to look that up, so I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't know what it is.
It's dirt bikes. So Independence is opening a Publix and a Barleycorns. Taylor Mill has pickleball courts now. Kim Mosier reported that there's a budget for money for Northern Kentucky health care, and that now we have where the doc does not have to ask permission first to treat someone. So that's a new thing, which is really good. And also money for dental care. Mr. Yeager, he brought up that the salt for the county was ordered last December, but not all received. They did get recent delivery, so we do have some salt if we keep getting this snow that we're getting. Senate Bill 112, short-term rentals. Yeah, they just encourage everyone to weigh in on your control for the cities to have control on short-term rentals and not for the state to have it, because I think, you know, it depends on each city whether they want to deal with that or not. The PVA exemption amount went to $49,000 for those who are over 65 for their property tax bills. So that's an increase for that'll come in play with this year's tax bills that come out. The cold has caused many water main breaks, and Northern Kentucky Water Department said they're on top of those. I've seen a lot of them out myself. The Ed District has the salary survey they're working on. It should be done February, which we'd like to get that for our budgeting, and we should get that before the end of the month. We have an update on from the attorney on the lawsuit with Stevenson, Snowden, Leinert, Hillard versus City of Park Hills, City Council, and Mayor. There was a motion on February 2 for a motion to dismiss. As it came to the floor of the courtroom, the plaintiffs voluntarily dismissed their suit. The filing renders the motion, which the plaintiffs never responded to, moot, and it effectively ends the litigation. On the Amsterdam update, we had a Teams meeting and reviewing the right-of-way sections, environmental update, drainage design, overhead poles that need moved, gas and water mains, gas and water lines, ST1 proposed crossings for new storm drainage and sanitary lines. Next steps will be to revise the drawings and all the plans for the cross sections and the rest of the street and sidewalk work. Residents have asked that I mention that the city has a leash law, and that to remind people that we do have these laws to keep your puppies on a leash. There's been a lot running loose, and they seem to be loving the snow, so they're all over the place. With all the snow that we've had, keep in mind that during a snow emergency, to remove your cars from the street for better plowing, and there's different emergency levels which are put out, and you can learn about those. We'll put those in our next newsletter as well, like the different levels, just to remind people. And most of the snow plowing went well with the foot of snow we had, and the recent, and most got their cars off. There was just, I think, we had 41 citations of removal or for some cars that just didn't move in time or was sitting there all day. So that's my updates, and now we'll move on to approval of the minutes.
Excuse me, Mayor. I have a question. You know, I was going to bring this up under financial, but with the, you know, keeping everything clear and upward, is it possible you could tell me or tell the council or people what it cost for that lawsuit how much money that the city had to spend on that, or is that, can you give me a number right now possibly on that?
Let me look at the,
I know maybe it being a financial, but I thought just to keep everything in order with the transparency, a little more clear that people know what's really going on.
well, our litigation line has a budget of 10, and right now there's 3183 out of it. I do know we just paid another 4383, so I don't know if the bills are finished coming in, but I would guess about 8,000 if I had to do a rough estimate. So.
Thank you.
Personally, that sounds high. I've talked to Mr. Nato a couple of times, and he didn't have to do a whole lot of work on this case. So I'd be surprised if it's anywhere near that.
Well, it's just under the litigation line, so I don't know if there was other things that came under that line.
Even though his rate's a little bit higher than I would have charged as your city attorney, I can get you an actual figure, but I don't think it can be that high.
It'd be just nice to know, God willing, actually how much it costs.
Julie and I can break it out and see what went to what.
But you have
next time we
invoices,
look at it.
right?
Please?
You have invoices,
Oh, yeah.
right?
But they're not listed on my financials.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And Mr. Ball, maybe you could explain to council, if it's okay, Mayor, why you were not able to represent us in this.
By virtue of the allegations in the lawsuit, I may have had to become a witness to the fact of what
Okay.
transpired here in council, and becoming a material witness, I could not then represent the city's interest, requiring us to go to outside counsel.
So material witness, okay. Thank you.
Okay, we can move on to approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. I only have one comment, but are you going to call for them? You ready? Okay. My only comment is that Councilmember Elkins left at 6:39, so I thought that should be noted somewhere.
I put that he left at 6:40.
Well, that's close enough.
It was after,
Sarah is particular.
So, well, no, I didn't see that.
it was after municipal order number 2. I said Mr. Elkins did not vote as he left the meeting at 6:40.
Thank you. Number 3. I see that. All right. 6:40 is fine.
Anything else, Sarah?
That's all I have.
Okay, I did have two little things. On the first page, in the, about the middle of that last paragraph, when it says, when that time is up, the goal will be to move our administration offices to that building and open the first floor for our business meetings. So if you could add behind, open the first floor of the Amsterdam Road building, or whatever you want to call this building, so it's clear that what the mayor said referenced this building. And then the only other thing on page 2, Julie, under presenters, where we talk about Mr. Chamberlain presenting the audit graph, and you say it can be found on the city's website. Can we put a sentence in there or two that summarize, that Mr. Chamberlain found no material deficiencies and that found the city to be in, I haven't listened to the tape, but he made some good statements there. So if someone is looking for what the audit said, they don't have to go and analyze it themselves on the website or listen to the whole video. Just give them like 2 sentences. That's it. Anybody else?
Okay, do a roll call. Mr. Claypool?
I abstained because I wasn't at that meeting.
Okay. Ms. Sayers?
Yes.
Ms. Fryland?
Yes.
Ms. Spooner?
Yes.
And Ms. Cardosi?
Yes.
Next, we have a first reading on zoning ordinance for manufactured homes.
An ordinance in the City Council of the City of Park Hills, Kentucky, adopting regulations for inclusion within the city's recently adopted and approved official zoning code, various proposed text amendments to various sections thereof regarding qualified manufactured homes.
And this is just a first reading, so there are no vote. Does anybody have any questions or discussion?
May I make a comment?
Sure.
I just want to remind everybody that this is being imposed on us by the state of Kentucky, and it's very unusual. I'm watching 3 deer on the hillside out here. It's pretty amazing how this is done. If this is not adopted, they will invalidate our entire zoning ordinance. But I really object to this. I think it's unprecedented that the state would impose this on the respective political subdivisions and take away from us our ability to zone our own city. So I'm just pointing it out, and I would, is this available online, Mayor, that people can take a look at it?
Yeah, put the whole thing on.
Thank you, Julie. So this is online, and this has been provided to us by PDS via the state. So I just want people to understand this is not our doing.
I got, you know, you would think with what, 85%, 90% of historical neighborhood, that, and God forbid if there would be a, you know, tornado or a fire, that somebody might pop up with a prefab home, no disrespect of them type of homes, but just doesn't seem to really fit in our city very well.
I asked Ms. Patrick Dembo when he was here at the last meeting, and there are no exceptions to it. Not a historic district, there are no exceptions. It's a very unusual.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah.
Okay, we have municipal order.
Number 3, a municipal order confirming the mayor's appointment of the City of Park Hill's representative and alternate representative to the Planning and Development Services of Kenton County.
And Steve and Laura were on our, as a rep, and they wanted to remain. They told Julie that. So. Municipal order number 4.
I'm going to do a roll call discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do
Yes.
you need a motion?
Yeah, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. I do have a question for this one about the inclusion of the ordinance number 5 in section 3. And Julie was kind enough to share a printout of ordinance number 5 with me. And I guess I just want to clarify and make sure, there are 2 things about this. One is, you know, because we're citing this ordinance, I guess I'm curious about why it's not sort of codified or something, you know, that seems unclear. You know, how someone would be able to find this information without asking Julie for it. And if it's still necessary to
It should be
include.
part of our codification.
I mean, it's something I have to do every, PDS sends me every year, don't forget to report your, it's just who we send to the meetings. Basically, it's who
Okay.
attends the meetings, like Steve would attend if he can't, Laura's second as the alternate, that's
Right.
pretty much all it entails.
Well, I think what she's saying is, I know you talked about it at the last meeting, I think, about some of our ordinances don't seem to be
Yeah, I
on there.
have talked about that, because that should be.
So I think that's
Do you
what
have
she's
ordinance
talking
five
about.
with you
I do,
here?
yeah, I brought it with me, and you know, it's too much to read.
Right,
Out loud.
but it should be part of our code, for sure.
It should, and, you know, I don't know, Mr. Braun, if you can speak to this a little bit too, but it looks to me that it wasn't like the ordinance didn't include where it would go into our code, so maybe that was the problem? Does that seem right?
Well, kind of. I've not seen ordinance number 5 because I didn't prepare this on that. It looks like it applies with regard to something on the Code Enforcement Board. But you're right, if it's an ordinance form, at some point it should be codified in our book so we can make reference to it somewhere. I know that there's been a lot of problems with trying to find old legislation codified. But personally, I think Section 3 doesn't even need to be in it. This is archaic language that no one uses anymore. It was kind of a stopgap measure just to say, oh, just in case there's something in conflict with this order, we're going to say it doesn't apply to anything in the past. And it really is not necessary anymore. This is just a simple order to appoint 2 people. So actually, we can strike it.
Could we keep maybe the beginning of it, like all ordinance orders, because that seems sort of like
That's fine, without
basic.
making
And
reference to
just
the
end it at
fact.
repealed.
At repeal,
Yeah,
Yes,
just
I
put
think
period
that
after
makes
repeal.
sense.
Okay, and then strike everything after that.
I think so. And maybe we need to just take a look at this ordinance 5 and see, from 2005, in
If
case
you got a
anybody wants
copy,
to
I'll
know.
look at it. And my right, it deals with the Code
Yeah.
Enforcement Board.
Well, I was going to say, is looking at that ordinance, I don't think it even asks to put those names in there, so it's not really
Yeah.
something you could codify anyway.
Right, that's my comment.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if it's, you know, what is relevant there for us, but it's worth taking a look at to see if there's something that we do want to make sure is codified.
So, is a motion
Yeah,
Want to redo the motion
I'll
on
make
that?
a motion, I'll redo the motion,
Can amend.
subject to deletion in section 3 of everything after the word repealed. So section 3 will read, all ordinances, orders, and/or resolutions in conflict herewith are hereby repealed, period.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Claypool?
Yes.
Wait, we need a second on the
Oh,
amendment.
I'll
second.
second.
Sorry.
Mr. Claypool?
Yes.
Ms. Sayers?
Yes.
Ms. Fryland? Ms.
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Ms. Cordes?
Yes. Now, municipal board.
In order, the City Council of the City of Park Hills, Kentucky, authorizing and directing Mayor Kathy Zembro to enter into and execute an updated interlocal agreement for the police department to participate in the regional SWAT program.
And their agreement was attached, and this is kind of every year or 2 years or something like that, so.
I'll make
Is
a
there a
motion to
motion?
approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, I do have some questions. You answered one of them, which was, is this annual? Because I went back to look and see if we voted on this,
Yeah.
in the last years, and I didn't see anything, and because I don't recall it either, but it,
I think whenever they have a change, then they put out a new MOU
okay.
that we need to agree. So I haven't read over the last one to see if there's any changes, and they didn't really note any changes, but
Okay. And then I had some questions about, let's see here, page 7 of the, of the agreement. Page 7, letter B, 3B, I'm sorry, 3B. I just wondered about the amounts that are listed here, like, are we covered for these amounts, and is this something that we as a city have to be able to show that we're covered for them? And then also, are only certain officers, do only certain officers become members of the SWAT team?
well, we used to have an officer that was part of SWAT, and maybe you can explain.
So what we do is, the only reason we're a member of the SWAT team is because I had an officer who wanted to be part of it. And so in order to have an officer on the team, you have to be part of the SWAT membership. So the way I understand this, because we no longer have a person in the SWAT team, I don't believe we have to have this coverage because we don't have an officer. Now, if we were to have an officer participating, they would require us to do that in case that officer did something that caused liability concerns. So we're still a member of the SWAT team because if we ever have a SWAT call out, we've never had in the 98 years we've been here, but we almost had one. They won't charge us for it. And a SWAT call out could range anywhere from a couple thousand to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the circumstances. So, and we also get to be part of the board. So if there's any, decisions or conflicts of interest or just discussions, particular in the SWAT, then we get to voice our opinions.
Okay.
And we do always carry liability in 500 to millions, the millions.
Is that what the police department has on that?
I think that's over for
I think
overall
that's standard
liability.
operating procedure, isn't it?
Top of my head, I don't know exactly.
Okay, because, yeah,
I would say that's the case, that's why they came up with those numbers, because that's a standard procedure,
it's all through KLC,
Yes.
I'm sure it'll come up for review again, yeah,
Okay.
all the liabilities.
Very good. This might also be answered, but sort of in the same vein, but I just wanted to know if there were any new costs, because I think our current budget is $4,500 for SWAT.
So that's-
Maybe we won't use that now?
No,
I'm
that's
not
just
sure.
for the membership to be part of SWAT.
Membership, okay.
When you have an officer join SWAT, there's very little extra cost involved with the way they have it worked out. They don't put an undue burden on the cities when they have an officer join.
So it's really like a community funding of the resource for SWAT.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yes, that money goes towards the whole SWAT team, and everybody gets to disperse the money when needed.
Okay. Thank you.
No
Thanks
problem.
for answering my questions.
Do we need a vote on that?
We need to,
Mr. Claypool, we've already mentioned.
Okay.
Mr. Claypool?
Yes.
Ms. Sayers? Ms. Fryland? Ms.
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
And Ms. Curtis?
yes. And under petitioners, I had the Civic Association, which, let's see if anyone was here. They did have dates for their events that we need to okay for the year as well. And the dates for 2026 are as follows. Their meet and greet, Thursday, March 19th. Details will come on their website. Easter egg hunt, Saturday, March 28th, 11 a.m. in Trolley Park. Yoga in the park is Saturdays in May, 10 a.m. in Trolley Park. Memorial Day Parade is Monday, and it's May 25th this year. Yard sales, Saturday, July 11th. And I'll give this to you. Pumpkin Parade is in the Hayride. That's a Saturday, October 24th. And Christmas in the Park, Luminary Night, December 13th. Let's hope it's not miserable.
Well, wait a minute, Mayor. I would like them to list a backup date for that.
Okay.
I really think that would have been helpful this year.
Haven't we always had that?
Yeah, we always have one. We didn't have one this year. I think it would be really good to have an official backup date that's already approved. Nothing has to be done if it snows or goes.
Yeah, because they didn't have the horses after that date. So
Right.
They're only doing yoga in May?
that's what it says, yeah.
I thought they did it in the.
I thought they were in June too.
Yeah.
7-Eleven is the yard sale.
Well,
Yeah, that's what
could be Saturdays in the summer, starting in May.
There we go. There you go. Could be.
That might be what she meant, but.
Can I ask a question maybe, and tell me if this is not an appropriate time to ask it? I know we had these discussions when we were talking about the budget originally, but when, I know the big part of the Civic Association's costs are Luminary Night and the horses and all of that. That didn't happen this year. Can we talk about like what that's going to look like for the next year? Because I think that they can do more with this funding. I think there's a lot of opportunity there that we're probably missing.
Did they have to pay for the horses even though we didn't use them?
No, they
That's not
refunded,
much.
yeah, they did. But, well, they paid a cancellation fee, and they let, since the weather, it was weather related.
Yeah, they couldn't help it. I mean, it's nobody's fault.
Because we had rented heaters and things like that we end up having to pay for, because they sat around here. We didn't know.
Oh my God, it was an awful night.
So, yeah. But don't I need an approval on the dates for the events? Don't we usually okay these?
We do.
It's kind of like a sweep event permit rather than having to every time to come back.
Okay. So,
So
we need to do that too, need a motion and.
Did they by chance fill out the new event permit?
No, it's a new person now, so Sarah, I forgot how to say her last name, but she did a lot of volunteering.
I think so.
I think-
you know,
Yeah, we did,
I was just
you're right.
curious about.
I'll make a motion to approve this, but subject to them providing a backup date for the luminary night. When you have an outdoor event in the winter, you know,
Right.
you're really rolling the
I think
dice
it's just
there.
good to have backup
It
dates,
is.
just in general, not even necessarily just in the winter.
And just for people to know in advance, because it's so hard to get the word out for them, for the Civic
Oh, yeah.
Association. So that way it'll help them that it's out there already.
I think there's still that, I know I've said this before, but to your point about the communication issue, I think there's still a disconnect of like how they communicate that they exist, especially for somebody that's new to the city. I definitely struggle to understand what that group was versus what this group is versus what our committee work is and how that is communicated out to the public.
Sarah said she was gonna work on that and get more, like, I told her, I said, include me in your decisions, because they would change things and I didn't know anything about it, like the luminary and things like, I said, you let me know at the last minute, you know, so, yeah.
Well, maybe it would.
But I'll talk to
be good
them
if
about
I
that as well.
Ask a representative from the Civic Association to come to a caucus meeting where we could discuss some of the items, or even do a committee meeting, just, you know, so we can know each other.
Well, maybe their meet and greet, I'll come on March 19th and pick their brain.
Where will that be?
Here,
Here.
but you usually have it here.
They come here, so.
I do like the idea too, I definitely go to meet and greet, but I like the idea of having them come or.
I do too, because I think that way if they're, it's, number one, it's good for all of us to know each other and what their goals are and what our goals are and all that kind of stuff. I just think that'd be helpful. I mean, just maybe Sarah could, who is Sarah now? She's the new head
She's
of the
volunteered a
Civic
lot, but
Association.
She's
she,
great.
yeah, she's
Good,
really
great.
great. Yeah.
She's really, really great.
I've set up tents with her, so.
And I think this goes along with what we've been emailing about general, broadly community engagement and what that looks like. So I think that would be a really good intentional step in trying to be better about that.
Maybe for a caucus meeting.
What is Sarah's last name?
Allred, yeah, yeah. Is that, I want to say it's like
Shannon.
Ally,
Wait,
but
wait,
it's
that's
not.
Shannon.
Shannon,
Right. It's
Oh,
Allred or something.
Somebody's commenting every day.
ALRICH, I think it's spelled something like that,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Do we have a vote on those?
Oh, can we also, just to add on to the, for the yoga, can we also clarify that, whether
Yes.
it's just May or beyond? I think that would be helpful.
Maybe first.
Did we have a second?
Oh, I'll second. Mr. Clayton,
Yes.
Ms. Sayers.
Yes.
Ms. French.
Yes.
Ms. Spore.
Yes.
And Ms. Cardosi.
Yes.
And then we have Mr. Fowler petition.
Welcome back. Sorry I didn't make copies today. Owner went out on
I see that.
Thanks again, Mayor and Council, for the opportunity to speak about conserving green space in Park Hills. The petition I shared with you, the January 2026 council meeting, was shared, and so far it's received 60 signatures, several comments, several questions. Given the weather, I've not yet gone door to door, a lot of weather complaints here, but still plan to seek input from those living along North Arlington, Aberdeen, and Alhambra. As the mayor pointed out last meeting, the police station is at 1502 Dixie Highway, and the back portion is going to be referred to as 1500 Dixie Highway. An interesting discussion occurred in the comments section of the petition on Facebook. It started with a suggestion that conserving the back would prohibit the building of the extension of North Arlington. Is that true? The zoning change, I understood, could be defined by whatever part of the city-owned property that the council agrees on. If the developers build townhomes, they will need a road to access the homes, and this would provide a connection point for a North Arlington extension, possibly. Obviously, there are things that have to be purchased and a lot of bureaucracy in the way. Also, a member of council had asked for a map that shows how development of 1504 Dixie would look next to a conserved hillside and trees within the 1500 Dixie. And within that, I've just stitched together a view of what the developer had provided next to the green space, the little 50 feet section of the 1500. So it seems like it's all possible. It keeps the city-owned green space. Obviously, the Arlington connector adds costs, and losing green space would have its own costs. So I was hoping to read a few comments. Simple one was, please conserve the 1500 Dixie. Honor your word. Please stop chopping our trees down. Please stop developing, destroying all the land. Save the green space. We are behind you. Time to make change. Let's be clear. This isn't a misunderstanding or a minor policy shift. It's a credibility problem. When the city purchased this property, Mayor Zembrod publicly assured residents that the greenery and tree line would be preserved and that the intent was a natural or green space. Those were not casual comments. They were representations made to the public to justify the purchase. Now the city is advancing the multifamily housing on the very land it promised to protect. If that's developed, there is no undo button. This feels like a bait and switch. It's exactly the kind of behavior people say they're sick of, and it's disappointing to see it here. At the most local level among neighbors. Local government only works when trust exists. Trust depends on honesty and follow-through. Assurances made by the mayor can be discarded when inconvenient, then her future promises mean nothing. We should not tolerate these politics in Park Hills. We have every right to expect better and to demand that this property be preserved as permanent green space, consistent with what residents were originally told. And the last one, keep Park Hills green. The other comment came from a member of the tree board committee telling me, I believe in 10 years that we regret not having that green space. I ask you to do the responsible thing, keep the city of Park Hills green space and conserve 1500 Dixie Highway. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
Yes,
Mr. Gray gave me his report because he couldn't be here. We had 2 liens filed on a couple of properties that we've had repeated reports on St. Joe's Lane and Alberta. So those are new liens. And then I did just get an email from Mr. Tony Darren on our insurance, and I think I printed it off, but it's not in my package. So, Tony, you want to tell us about that? So I don't have to run downstairs and get my notes. Thank you.
I didn't bring my glasses. I wasn't fully prepared to do this, so hopefully I can do better.
You want to borrow mine? You can bring it.
Need a pair of glasses? They're not really glasses, they just make me look a little nicer. I need all the help I can get.
So I'm Tony Darren. I'm representing the city on the Northern Kentucky Health Insurance Board. And we meet quarterly. So in our last meeting on 1/23/26, well, I guess maybe, I'm not sure if everybody is really aware of what that is, but it's really basically like a co-op. And this insurance board represents a number of cities in Northern Kentucky and actually stretching almost to Louisville with some of the cities, including Carrollton and Pendleton as an example. So here's some of the bullet points from the last meeting. So the total plan costs for the year 2025 through 2026 are projected to be down 6% on a per employee per year basis. The cost per employee per year is $16,790 and is below both the state and the national benchmarks. Most recently, we've had some high claimant activity, and that has increased some of our cost year over year from 2024 through 2025. But the risk profile for most of the plan's high claimants are improving, and the most highly utilized hospital in this group is St. Elizabeth. That was really about it. Board runs pretty seamless. As far as the cost, there's about $2.1 million in reserve, and it's a great plan, I believe, for our city.
It's kind of, I think you're right, it's like a co-op, but it was developed because back when all the insurance was changing and there was going to be people leaving the state, there was the National Care or Kentucky Connect. So our insurance costs were so high for our employees that a lot of them were, so they decided to start this group, and you could opt into the group. It's been years ago now. I forget how long, maybe 6, 7, 8. It's been a while.
More than that, Kayla.
But it's been really good and conservative, and I was going to the meetings, but once I was mayor, I'd asked him to go to some of the meetings for me, so I really appreciate that, so.
Yeah, so the program.
But it's kept the cost down, not like
Yes, it has.
Humana or any of the other ones that we had.
From budgeting, we
so.
should plan on keeping things pretty even for the coming fiscal year?
Yeah, usually I make a recommendation that I think there's usually just a very, from a budget standpoint,
Yeah.
it's usually very minimal.
By April, I think you usually do that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, we'll be meeting again in March.
okay, very good.
So the program it's facilitated through the Northern Kentucky Area Development District and through the state. And then Cheryl Merrill is basically the broker and the legal consultant who we purchased through, and the provider is a company called MedBend.
Right, that's what they named it, yeah.
Well, one of the really good things about this program, and I do want to thank you for going to those meetings. I know that can't be the most interesting topic, but when I first came on council, one of the things that we observed was what I call the bait and switch. So you get this great bid from a company and you go with them, but then the next year they jack it up.
14%.
Yeah, and then you have to change, and then your employees are greatly inconvenienced by that because, it's just a merry-go-round. So this has really been a good solution for us.
I think it's been excellent.
Yeah.
I've been serving on this for 3 years now.
Julie's been on it for a long, long time, so I think it's not bad, it's not a bad
I love
insurance.
it.
Yeah.
It's covered pretty much
Dan,
all kinds of.
Thank you very much.
everybody love it?
Thanks, Sam.
Chief Stanley next.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody have an opportunity to read my report? Any questions on my report?
I have one question. First, I want to thank you again for including the list of all the many citations that came about because of the snow emergency. And I think we talked about this last month too, and I know we also talked about looking at our code, so I don't know if anyone actually looked to see what we have in the code, but I wanted to still ask about how we're determining who receives warnings versus citations in a snow emergency, because it looks like we have a mix.
Well, we didn't tell anybody to come and think of a snow emergency, so we would have given warnings the way I'd anticipated. We give warnings, and then if they don't move the car, we can give them a ticket.
Okay.
in a timely.
Is that part of our code? I mean,
We can decide whether or not the officer has discretion if they want to give a warning or a
Okay.
ticket. But due to the circumstances, we had a discussion last council meeting, we went with, we'll give a warning, and then if they don't move the car in a timely amount of time, then we can give them a ticket.
I think it's really important that the officer retain flexibility. I know a situation that occurred near me, and I want to thank you and Officer Chelsea Little for your good management of that. But, the person had not moved their vehicles, but it turned out they were really sick. And, nobody knew that. So, things happen and the officer has to be able to respond to that.
Yep.
And we go by Homeland Security's emergency levels. And so that determines what's happening. And then the officers are familiar with the cars that stay and the cars that need to go. And they usually tag them, or they know who the operators are usually. And they go house to house as well, I know. They reported on that as well. So.
Speaking of which, the snow emergency, some of the officers were having some issues of whether or not there was a snow emergency in effect, because the Reach Alert said one thing, but it wasn't published in media or something for another, and the officers were having concerns, can we enforce a snow emergency if it's not out there for the general public to know due to the media?
Right,
So
but
that-
the lesser amount of snow that came, I did an advisory because that's what Kenton County issued, and they didn't issue a one until like the next day. So,
we just need to make sure we clarify that, because the officers don't want to do something
right,
out of.
for big snow, I was prepared.
Right, yeah.
But I usually wait for what's coming out, what they rule it is.
I think it's hard to do, but it's a good point, especially for somebody who doesn't live here, that doesn't get Reach Alerts, if they don't know. If they're parked, if they're visiting, if they're helping someone
And
who's
not everybody
sick.
who does live here.
Yeah, there's only
Exactly,
about
that's
50% are even signed up.
Same, yeah.
That's why we put it on Facebook and other places too, so that people can see.
And you know, the big picture with that big snow, really, I personally think I think Danny feels the same way, but he'll say something about it. The majority of residents did a great job getting cars on. I mean,
Yeah.
when you figure these homes were built in 1927, a lot of them got small driveways. You know, when I grew up, we had one car per family. Now there's 2 or 3 cars per family. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, overall, it worked out a lot nicer to get them cars. I think the public did a great job doing the best of their ability getting the cars off the road, along with our police force tagging some of the cars. So that's it for me.
Did we get any responses, like any positive or negative responses to our response?
Yeah, we've
to
had
the
people
emergency?
come in and pay if they flat out there for days and days, you know, they came in and paid their fines.
Okay,
No grumbling, once I got their car dug out.
yeah, is it dug out yet?
Yeah.
I am going to fix try to come up with a solution to differentiate between Brownville and Park Hills towing and stuff.
Oh,
But
okay,
it's not on there this time, so we got to come up with a
Oh,
solution
okay.
on that.
that would be helpful, yeah.
Chief, are you gonna talk about the back of your report?
As soon as everybody
Oh,
finishes
okay.
this, if there are any more questions, we can move on to that.
Okay?
Let everybody have an opportunity to look over my proposal for the part-time officer.
Yes, and thank you for putting that together.
Is there any questions?
Well, I think it'd be helpful if you just discussed it, so if people are, you know, here or listening, they can hear what's going on.
Part of the problem with the department is we're at minimum staffing as far as, you know, we have 2 officers per shift. You have an officer go on training, sick, or vacation, I have to hire overtime to cover the shift, which means I have to move people around. So that causes, you know, fatigue issues on the officers because they're having to work so many hours at different times, especially start covering different shifts that they're used to covering, especially third shift. So, and of course, the budget issues kind of get crazy, the amount of money we spend on overtime. So if we hire a part-time officer, it says in there 20 hours a week. That's just an average. What'll happen is the officer won't work every month. It's only going to work when needed. And if there's a period of time when we're not needing them, then I'd have to give him some time to make it work as well to work part-time. But that's just an average. I'm allowed to work an officer 1,088 hours a year before it goes into full-time. And the state
Is that
monitors-
$99 a month?
Yeah, 99 a month. The state monitors that incredibly closely. And if we go over it, then what happens is they will charge us pension and retirement and everything else on it, so we don't want that. So you see the savings in there?
I did, so as I understand this, by hiring a part-time officer, we would actually save money.
Yes, because it's a retired officer, so we don't have to pay the pension system for it.
Right, and then we could keep our overtime. The reason it didn't happen before Richard had a stroke, Richard was really taking in a lot of time, and I kept asking him about his health because I was worried about him. When we had 3 officers out, he said, I got you covered, and he'd cover it. But then we see that he had a stroke, so.
And like I mentioned last month, the state is really pushing hard on alleviating some of the overtime. They're really concerned about that for officers' health, and physically. It takes a toll on everybody. So the state is pushing that also. So I felt it was a good time with the state pushing it, and you can tell the fatigue on the officers to request a part-time officer. I mean, the best solution would be giving a full-time officer, but I understand that could be burdensome, so we'll
That
just
might
work
be
on the
expensive.
part-time and see how this works.
And when would this officer begin?
Well, I goofed, well, I didn't goof, we all goofed. I thought we would put it in for a vote tonight, but that didn't happen, so hopefully we can come up with a vote sooner than later. But I didn't put it on the agenda.
Okay, so we
It wasn't
can't.
put-
No, you can move to amend the agenda and get it as a...
Yeah, I mean, why not? I'd like to get this done. We're gonna save money and.
I would like to do it, and he would like to do it. The
Quality
officer-
Okay,
of,
I was
service for our
I suggested
residents.
that they wait till the caucus since nobody,
I'm all in favor of doing it now. I mean, how does council feel?
If we can legally do it, one other question I had, Chief, would this help also with vacation, or if one of the officers got ill, that would?
Yeah, that's the whole scheduling
Exactly,
issue is
right.
to cover overtime, vacation, and sick time.
Great.
And then, of course, if he doesn't work for a long period of time and there's hours available, I'd have to give him some time to make it worth his while. But right now, matter of fact, if we hire him tonight, in about 2 weeks, we have 3 or 4 days of overtime that I was going to have to give to the officers that he would be able to cover.
Good, he could come in. And is there a training period associated for him? I'm
Yeah,
sure.
he's a retired officer, but yes.
Okay.
It's minimum training per se, but yes, there'll be some training involved. And that's built into the formula that we have adjusted.
Okay.
So-
And where is he retired from?
I think, oh, goodness gracious, you're asking me that. I get him confused with another officer. He came from Paris originally, Paris, Kentucky, with another officer. I get him confused all the time. I want to say Ellesmere
Okay.
is where he retired from.
I think that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
sure.
guess I get him confused with the other officer all the time.
I'm with Pam, we can legally, attorney, to get it moving to save some money for the city and to help our police
So
officers on
how's that
top of it.
happen?
Well, I would make a motion to amend the agenda.
Those are the other questions
There were-
first.
Yeah.
There were discussions beforehand, you were going to put it off to the caucus meeting, but if you want to advance it today, just make a motion to amend the agenda to include this item and indicate what the item is and then
How do
take
you
the
feel?
vote.
I'd like to.
I would too.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
well,
I also want to ask about, because usually when we have a new officer, we usually have some sort of legislation that sort of introduces them, like says, we're
Right.
going to do this.
Yeah.
So while I think it would make sense for us to, to prioritize this, I just want to make sure we're doing it all the correct way.
I think I don't see a problem in that. And maybe at our next meeting, you could bring the officer and introduce him and, all of that. I would like to meet the officer.
Again, he's retired, so, he's getting retirement. He retired in good faith. He's, like I said, all the times I've hired everybody, I take their recommendations from our officers, because if you can't work with somebody, it's not going to be a good fit. And everybody who knows him and has worked with him is happy with him.
Well, the reason I'd like to move forward tonight is I know you planned to do this at our last meeting and it slipped through. And, I mean, winter is the time when you have sickness among your officers. It's the main time. So I'd like, if we can, to address it.
Yeah, we just
So
had a couple officers sick the last 2 weeks.
I would make a motion to amend the agenda to include a vote on a part-time police officer for our police department.
I will second that.
So we need some roll call to be
Yes.
okay on that? Okay, Mr. Claypool?
Yes,
Ms. Sayers?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Ms. Ford?
Yes.
Ms. Cardosi?
Yes.
Okay, now, based on the question that was asked, what I'm assuming you'll do then is have an order appointing him to the part-time position with, how we do it, rate of pay or whatever, with a commencement date. Even if you have to backdate it to whatever date you want him to start, that's still fine. And then vote on that. And that
So,
way,
vote to-
you'll introduce him and you'll give him the oath.
Well, we'll give him the oath when we hire him, of course, but then I can bring him up here and introduce him.
Yeah, I think that'd be really nice. I think
But do you do you ask for permission for me to sign the municipal order? Is that what you're doing?
Correct.
Could you phrase the motion, please?
Yeah, I'll prepare one if you want.
Yeah, just prepare one and we'll vote on it. And what is the
His
officer's
name?
name?
Okay.
I'll get all that from
I'm
you.
asking a tough questions.
Actually, it's very tough because in
Ryan.
police work, we have a tendency to call people by their last names. And actually, his first name is Cornett. And Chelsea, you remember his first name?
Ryan.
Thank you. It's a big deal with him. And it's just, you get used to calling people by their last names, and I don't know a lot of officers except only by their last name. So,
Brother Brian.
Yeah. And Cornett is what I saw on,
yeah, I think
The
that's the way it's-
paperwork,
that's the way it's pronounced.
Okay.
that's how all that came up today. I saw an email address, I'm like, who's this?
I'm a little confused about how we're progressing with that.
Mr. Braun is
Okay.
writing a,
I'll prepare an order and we'll just make it effective as whatever date you want. You can just,
okay, so should I make a motion to,
no, you don't need to do that yet. You
Okay.
made the motion to approve the hiring of a part-time officer. I'm just going to
I'll do
formalize.
that then, because all we've done is amend the agenda so far.
Right.
So I will make a motion to approve the hiring of a part-time officer.
I'll second that.
Okay.
We already did that.
No, that was the amendment.
Oh, okay,
This is
so
to
this is
do
a
the
motion
municipal
to,
Approve the hiring of a part-time officer.
By subsequent order.
By subsequent order.
order that was seconded by Mr. Claypool.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
we'll do a roll call.
Sorry.
Mr. Claypool,
Yes.
Ms. Sayers?
Yes.
Ms. Freilich?
Yes.
Ms. Ford?
Yes.
And Ms. Cardosi?
Yes.
I can talk to Cody about this afterwards, but do you have an effective date?
I like to do it more Wednesday, sooner the better.
That's what I thought you
The
said.
15th?
Make it effective
The 10th,
the 10th.
because I need to get him trained and everything. so-
Okay, because somebody said the 15th, and that's why I said, oh, might have to be the 23rd.
So will we receive a municipal order in our next meeting to review? I mean, do we need to like,
Or we can,
because we said that as part of the motion subsequent.
right. Or it can be prepared and sent out to each. How did,
You know me, I'll have it prepared tonight or tomorrow morning. You
Okay.
can circulate if you want. It's going to be
Okay.
pretty simple, just appointing so-and-so as a part-time police officer effective to 10/26.
Fantastic.
so then I would just send it to you to approve, to okay, and I
No, I
sign
think
it.
we'd need to be in a meeting to vote on that, wouldn't we?
Yes.
Yes.
But
But we can do
the
it-
effective date will still be as of the 10th.
I understand,
It'll be a
yeah.
subsequent.
I just want to make sure that we understand next week.
Okay.
So we would vote
Okay.
on it in March.
Yes, or if we had like a special meeting at the beginning of caucus or something like that.
Okay, so as of a certain date. Okay, so.
No, it's just Wednesday.
Wednesday, 11. 11.
Okay, whatever you say.
So is that done?
Yeah. If he's done.
I'm finished.
Any other questions for Chief? Okay, we're gonna get to Chief Rigney. I know you're dying to get up there.
Everybody got my report. 22 calls for service for month of January. Crews have been busy out checking for frozen hydrants and trying to get snow away from a lot of them. I think we had like 15 of them that were dig out and got buried. So important to keep those accessible. We put stuff out on social media. And I know there was a couple neighboring cities even had fires where the hydrants were frozen and contributed to the fire and everything. So really try to prevent that as best we can.
What do you do?
We pump them out. So what we do is we've got approximately 155 hydrants. So we go out and sometimes water will be above ground inside the fire hydrant. So we have to pump that out.
Okay.
And then if it comes back up, that means it's leaking, and we have the water district come and service those. But it's something we have to constantly keep track of. And
That's interesting, I just saw them doing that.
Yeah. I mean, we go out, several different times. And, we have some that are constantly, issued, and we'll follow up on those and have the water district fix them.
So we have
usually know
155?
That surprised me too.
About 150.
Wow.
approximately. So, most of our month of January was spent cold weather operations, so we drained a lot of the stuff that we would normally have wet, and just everybody was kind of preparing for anything we might have to, go out to, so. But fortunately, everything was good. We didn't have any issues.
Very good.
But that's pretty much all I have.
I got some, I guess I'm talking. Scott, I had a neighbor ask me as far as, when somebody calls 911 and the fire department shows up, do they have an EMT on site? That was one question that I said I couldn't answer it, I would ask it tonight.
So the way we operate, of course, we're still predominantly a volunteer fire department. We're considered a combination fire department because we do have part-time people that work during the daytime. So in the event of an ambulance run during the day, you'll get the pickup truck will come with 2 first responders on it. In the evening, you may get 1 first responder that comes, but it's dependent on people's availability. And the fire station isn't always manned. So we're still, like I said, predominantly a volunteer fire department. You're going to get the ambulance from Fort Wright regardless, or whoever's coming. but as far as a, fire truck going to an ambulance call, it's dependent on if anybody's available. We have, typically during the week, we'll have some people that stay at night, but not all the time. We've kind of tried to expand our part-time program a little bit into the evenings and weekends, and we've had some success with that, but it's still have a ways to go.
Sure.
So it's kind of something I've been working on.
Maybe in the budget, maybe something, a little more money if possible. I'm not on the Finance Oversight Committee, but, I look at this, well, first of all, thank you for that, coming back with that, and I can get that back to her. The other thing is, with the mayor being up here for several years and the Financial Oversight Committee, if anybody looks at the news in the past few months, a lot of small cities are losing their fire departments and their police departments. And, with Kathy's nodule, with the budget and stuff, it's really kept the fire department, police department, our public works, Julie, in this small city, because they're fading quick. But I can't thank our departments of our heads enough for, I know you guys do it for Love City. I can't imagine going out there in that weather and pumping them things out, how many times you got to do it if they leak. So thank you all for your service.
Well, Greg, and to a point about the EMT coming, the EMS, whenever you come out, I do know, we had an incident on our street, on Irish Rose, and Fort Wright had shown up, and the EMS, we always get them coming. We have a contract with them because we don't have the ability to have, we used to, but we don't have that anymore.
Right.
But we do have a contract with them, so they show up anytime there is that. And I know it was a little fire in a stove, and they were worried about it, and the whole bunch came and just checked it out. It didn't amount to anything, but they were worried that it might have been in a wall or something. And so I think when they had called 911, they encouraged them to have the fire department come anyway, just to check things out. So they all show up at each time. So there is, EMS.
On that finance budget committee, just like Tony's on that one committee with the insurance, I think that's on the website of the people that's on these committees that do this for the love of the city. People ought to look at it, and if they see some of these neighbors, they ought to thank them, because it's a thankless job, that the love they do for the city to attend the meetings. So thanks again, Scott. I very much appreciate it, sir.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I was very glad about that. Just one quick question, Chief. Laura brought this up, I think with respect to Chief Stanley, but do we have defibrillators? Is that something you have in your first responder vehicle?
Yes, we have a defibrillator in every
Okay.
vehicle in the
Okay,
fire
great.
department.
And you were asking Laura, I guess, about the police have them too?
Well, I was looking into getting more for the police department
Okay.
through a program called Heart Restart.
Okay.
It's
Good.
a combination with Christ Hospital in St. Elizabeth, but I think Mr. Detective Bradford is working. Sergeant.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
We have 4 now, yeah, so that's.
But not one in every car.
No. So what happens is they're all at the station. So the officers would pick them up on duty.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And like for instance, Chelsea's working tomorrow, she can take hers home because she's coming the next day.
Gotcha.
So we would do things like that
Okay.
also.
So anyone responding to an event would have one.
That's the goal. I can't guarantee it because there's only 4 and things happen, but yes, that is the goal, to make sure that there's always a defibrillator.
And there's a need for how
available.
many more?
Well, we have 7 officers and a part-timer. 8 would be nice just to have them, but again, we did look into the one grant you sent me a while back, and it was over at the moment, or not taking applications at the time. But Sergeant Bradford and a couple of the others, Chelsea, Officer Little also, and they are on grants, and they're always searching for them. Anytime they come up, we put in for them.
One thing on those, just keep in mind, if you have, vehicles aren't being used or whatever, and you have AEDs in those units, there's still maintenance and upkeep on those AEDs. So you have to buy 2 sets of pads, new batteries every time, even if they're not being used.
Yes.
So just something to think about.
I think we have actually-
Thank you.
We have quite a few pads the way it is, I believe.
So it sounds
Dan,
like
go
we-
ahead, or?
Greetings, Mayor, Member, and Council. Thanks for another month as always. I'd like to start off with an apology to everyone for putting the snow back in our driveway after they go to the trouble of clearing them out. It's the number one thing I really dislike about my job, especially when people are out there shoveling and they come by and, any of us come by and put snow back in where they just shoveled out. Unfortunately,
It's
that's.
gotta go somewhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the nature of the elements and the machine. We handled a lot, around and around we went. And we, Matt Dye, Chuck Graybill, and Councilman Greg Claypool helped out driving the plows, and we had Caleb Adams and Peter Shannon with the backhoe and the tractor and the good old shovel. And of course, I got to thank Debbie, my wife, for riding with me and telling me where to go. I need to-
Keeping you awake. I know you were out there late.
Well, that-
Text messages.
She's my communication expert, that's for sure. You know, all the residents who got their vehicles off the streets, we mentioned that before, but I tell you what, it's, when you get 10 inches of snow, 8 to 10 inches, you know, I feel sorry for the people who don't have a place to go with their car, because when you start putting 10 inches of snow up against somebody's car, it's gonna be a while before they can get it out. And the police department for all their efforts in getting all the vehicles moved that they did, it's very helpful. Anybody have any questions?
You know, Danny probably didn't bring it up, when them guys were out there that first night, literally with your defrosters on your windshield on high, you still had to get out about every 15 or 20 minutes and take your windshield wipers and get the ice off them, because you couldn't see.
Yeah.
I know one person on Old State said, I seen you stop a couple times, Greg, about every 15 or 20 minutes if I see you go by every couple hours. And I said, I had to do that to your windshield wipers because they ice up, and I know the whole gang had a problem with
Yeah.
that. That was the first.
That whole, all that equipment, those windshield wipers are the most necessary piece of equipment on that vehicle. And yet they're the lightest duty, and they get beat to whoop and back.
Oh, I'll tell you, and then I'll tell you, them vehicles, them trucks, they take a beating. They really take a
Yeah,
beating.
I kind of refer to them as dog years.
Yeah.
1 year of snow, or mild snow removals, like 7 years of 7 to 1, flip it back and forth.
Yeah, and we always try to stay in contact as far as who's been where and so on and so forth. That first night that they wouldn't let you have any more salt was a little bit aggravating, but I mean,
That's
who
been
knows?
taken care of, they got more rain down there, that's been lifted.
Right, right.
Well, we're all very
Yeah,
grateful
thank you very much.
for all the work,
We
Greg,
didn't do
Dan,
the best, we just tried to.
and Debbie.
Well, yeah,
did great.
and there was more than Danny and I out there.
I have a report from Jay Bear. He is out with knee replaced. And he does have new report. Just today, I know on your thing, bus stop was like he was checking on it, but it just came across approved. The plan was approved, so I shared it with everyone. And now we send in for an encroachment permit with the state. So after that happens, then maybe when the weather's a little better, we can get to work on that bus stop.
Great.
And then Gateway, there's no change, they're still waiting on updates and new inspection and punch list is what he keeps requesting. We have financials, Julie?
Pretty much the same old stuff, it's just kind of slow this time of year. Does anybody have any questions on anything?
Do we need to make a motion before we have some discussion? I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I think also, this combined with hearing from our auditor last month, I do wonder, if we can take a look at how much we have dedicated to currently planned projects, because there might be things that we could be considering to work on. I know we have like a park that we've talked about.
Right, well, the Financial Oversight Committee is going to be meeting, and those things will come up. And I was going to discuss that in committee stuff, but we're going to be meeting February 19th, so I'll mention it.
What time was that, 6:30 or
6:30,
early?
6:30, yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to accommodate everybody's schedules, and you can't be perfect. Mr. Carley can't come then, and Dr. Doherty can't come then, because everybody voted between the 12th and the 19th, and that was the date they wanted.
Okay. Sounds good. I just think it's important to look at that, and see
I
what.
can assure you we plan to.
Yeah. Excellent.
The only thing I have to say about, we have a camera line, which I refuse to pay until they all work. And we finally figured out what was wrong. I had Alta Fiber come into the trolley park and look at the modem and the lines, because it never stays online more than like a day, and it goes off. And the officers called, he said, it's still not on, it goes off again. So they did come, and the guy was very helpful, and they've been there all week, and they had to replace all the equipment. So when the equipment was installed, I don't know what happened, or if it was just crummy equipment, but they're replacing it all, and they may even replace the line once the snow's gone. But the modem they replaced as well, so hopefully they're working now. And
Did it ever work?
maybe a day here and a day there, not very long. When you need to look at it, then it was off already, so.
Okay.
And they do have notification now that when it's off, so we know, and we don't have to just guess at it. So. But they've been over there working, so I'm thinking it should be up and running then here soon.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I only had two things. How do we have 43 cents in our heritage lockbox?
Our heritage is where tax payments are made to that PO box.
Yeah.
So there's, once I write a check against those deposits, it leaves a little bit of interest or something in
An
there.
interesting number. And this is something we will discuss at financial oversight, that Dan's part-time help is, he's almost at the end of his budget, and that's a function of the weather. That's the function of what he's had to do. So we need to address that and be.
Right, Dan and I talked about that
Okay,
today.
good, good. Well, we'll cover that. I just want everybody to know it's not like it's being abused. You gotta use it.
I didn't have much snow.
Is there a first and second?
Yeah. Roll call, Mr. Claypool?
Yes.
Ms. Sayers?
Yes.
Ms. Freilich?
Yes.
Mrs. Ford?
Yes.
And Ms. Carter?
Yes.
I had two things for old business to talk about, and we already did the part-time officer. So next was procurement. There's some stuff in your packet. Mr. Braun and I had talked about an ordinance that would establish any changes that the state would make, that it would cover it, and we didn't have to do an executive order every time to change an amount anytime they raise or lower, and most of the time when they raised it. So that was one. And then Sarah sent some, and I included the procurement policy that we have, and that was done during Mr. McMurtry's time, and I think that was, oh gosh, maybe the last administration. And it's been very good for all, our employees. It works for everyone. It gives them a platform to keep us in line. They can't spend over X amount of dollars without reporting or asking, and I think it's a really good procurement policy. And then we have what else was included, and we can discuss. Have a discussion as Sarah had sent me some things to go over, and those are in here as well, the ordinance, and then I think.
I can speak to it if you'd like.
Sure, your template.
So I actually put together, similar to what I started to talk about last month in January, a process for just having codification around, it's my theme of the day apparently, around adopting the procurement policy. So this is not about changing the procurement policy that we have, but rather making sure that we are clear about that we have one, where it is, how to find it. And so I hope you had a chance to take a look at this, because I think it explains the purpose and the principles, and then I have some phases mapped out for this process, and I even included a draft ordinance for where this could exist, along as well as a municipal order, because I suggest that this should be adopted by municipal order rather than executive order. principally just because we want council to have a voice in this, ongoing conversation about procurement. But I think that this process is meant to be very lightweight in the sense that we don't have to change it every time there's a change in the KRS or the statute. It really just establishes that we have a procurement policy, and then when we adopt that by municipal order, then, or amend it anytime we're doing that, it's not something that we have to go through codification again. So I actually, of course, I like mine because I have put this together and I, suggested a location for it in our code as well. So it would be listed under 33, which is part of the administration part of the code. I think it's up for discussion about where we would like to do this. This is all preliminary. We can talk about it more at a caucus if that seems like a reasonable way to go about this. Yeah, I'll open the floor.
Well, I just would say in general, I definitely think it's a positive thing for us to link to the KRS so that we are always current in our law and we don't have to have action council to amend that. As to where it should go in the code, I'd like to think about that a little bit. So you're recommending it go into the administrative section, and is this other one yours, Mr. Braun?
Yes.
And you're recommending it would go into,
I'm just recommending you adopt the model procurement code over using the general bidding statutes because they're mandated by the state, and those would be for larger projects or projects exceeding the $4,000 limitation. And by adopting it, of course, anytime the statute changes, and if it's up to you, it's automatic.
right. Yeah, I think that's good.
And for public purposes, I was going to ask Julie to, whatever is adopted, to include the policy behind it, so if someone's looking, they can see what is our policy. Because I know it's behind the executive order that's been done in the past, so.
Right.
As you can see from one of the sections I put in my draft ordinance, it allows for you to have your individual procurement policy. And
Right.
I agree with Sarah, it should be done as a municipal order. And I like your term lightweight because that policy is really meant to act internally. What do you do with department heads and what do you do with projects under the statutory limitation? That's what it's really meant to be for.
Exactly, right. That all sounds great.
So do we want to perhaps discuss this at our next caucus in more detail?
Well, I do think it should be discussed at a caucus, but I think that everybody's on the same page here.
Yes.
And our underlying procurement policy, I don't think anybody's arguing needs change. It's just how it is appearing in our code and the modernization of that so that it tracks the KRS. All that's good, so.
And where it appears.
Yeah, correct. I think that's a pretty brief discussion, and.
Well, we'll have a caucus in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I think it would be nice, I would really like if we could also include, if the Civic Association would be willing to come in, that'd be nice, because we're starting at the beginning of the year and just kind of get off on a good foot there.
Okay.
And if you want, I can do a slide deck or something.
I honestly think this is a really simple thing,
Okay.
and I think we all agree about accomplishing it.
Yes.
If we were trying to adjust the underlying procurement policy, it'd be different, that'd be a lot more complicated. Is there any discussion at the state level, are the numbers staying the same? Have you heard any discussion there?
It seems like when they raise it, it's in $1,000 increments. I don't think they've done that for a 2-year span. I've not seen any introduced legislation in this session upping that amount.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's going to stay at the 4,000 at the moment. But to make sure I understand it, again, my proposal was for you to adopt the model procurement code as opposed to the general bidding statute, which you're required to do by law, unless you adopt the model procurement. Now, most of that stuff's going to go through your engineer anyway. What you're suggesting here is just an order adopting your internal procedures for for adoption and where to put it in the code.
Now, the model procurement code, tell us about that.
Well, I guess the main differences between the general bidding statutes and the model procurement code is, i.e. the word model, it was created as a model for everybody to use because it's more up to date, it's more standardized for everybody to use. Almost all the cities I'm familiar with have adopted it because it's just in vogue. The major difference is I think the model procurement code allows for the competitive bidding through a sealed process. And there's different steps that you go through to do that, which your city engineer would walk you through. There are a set of different exceptions which make it easier for you to do certain things instead of going through the general bidding statutes, and that also allows for the non-competitive bidding on emergency situations. Like say there's only one vendor that would produce a fire truck that you need. You don't need to go through the normal
important.
steps.
Yeah.
That's what the
Okay.
model procurement code is meant to do. Both have the exact same amounts for implementation at the $4,000 mark. So basically, it's a more simplified version that is more commonly used.
Could you send that to council? Maybe send it to Julie and she could share it with council. That would be helpful, so we're prepared for that. And I guess, I guess Mr. Bear's probably using that then. as
Well,
most
I
of
don't know,
his-
because the law says the only way to implement the model code is by ordinance.
But I mean, with his other clients, he's probably,
I know he does, because I've
Yeah.
dealt with him on other situations.
so he, okay, that's
I'm
good.
sure he's.
Yeah, and he bids all
Yeah.
our stuff when he does, we do a big project, he always does all
Okay,
the
I
bidding
think
for us.
sometimes he even says that when he's
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah,
it.
right.
Yeah.
We just got called by Louisville recently to ask us for all our bidding paperwork from Jackson Road. So I think they do spot checks here and there and make sure.
Okay,
So
very good.
Julie just sent them on.
Good to know.
I guess to answer your question, there's not like a policy or a code I can provide you. I can provide you the statutory requirements for like acceptance, adoption, what it
Okay,
covers,
that'd be
things like
great,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, if I understand correctly, we don't have to include that in our code, like not that we don't want
Correct,
those
correct,
details.
right.
We just want to say we are adopting it.
Right, I want to understand what I'm adopting.
Oh, of course, yeah, but it's almost like we don't really have a choice.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
I have a few old business items.
Okay.
Some of them are really cool. First is, have we heard anything further from the developer of 1504 since our?
No, I asked them if they had any updates for tonight, and they said no, but they would get with Josh and myself at a later date and talk about, I don't know if they have new plans or what, but
Okay.
that's all I know.
My other question is about, I want to first say that I think John Chamberlain does a great job with our audit, but I understand that it is usually a good idea to change auditors about every 5 years, just so that so your auditor's not getting basically accustomed to everything in your city. It's just good to have fresh eyes and to have that auditor independence. So I'm wondering if this year is a good year for us to make that adjustment.
Okay, well, we tried, Julie and I have tried that almost every year. We put it out to bid, and the only other bidder was an insurance company that we would have been their first test case.
I remember from the KLC city government program that sometimes cities have a hard time even finding an auditor.
They don't, right, and we've reached out to the KLC again, and they're trying to put a list of auditors together for each area because they are, for municipal, there's CPAs all over, but they don't want to do municipals. They don't want to do
Yeah,
it.
it's a real specialty field.
And then the other thing I'd like to point out, there was, the auditor does a lot of our cities. And what people don't know, and he pointed out to me a few times because, I've accustomed to his letters. And I know I like to get a different auditor. And way back, you could get that. You could go to, I know in my own business, I had like a different auditor every couple of years just to keep them all like on their toes and stuff. So I try to keep him on his toes too, but he does do a letter to, when he does the cities, he gives a letter that mayor gets, and then he gets one, the council sees too, but there's recommendations. In the past, we've had letters that said, they recommend 2 signers. There's a discrepancy, or there's a check that never cleared, and Julie has to hunt it down, things like that. And then I know he does Florence has an issue right now, and
Yes, they do.
and he actually is, in their letter, he pointed out their issues for the last few years, so he just
You
shared.
don't see what that private letter.
People
says.
don't see what's in the letters for their mayors, and as well as Fort Thomas. He actually pointed their issues out, and he said, so those are in the letters, and I said, well, those things are good to know. So he said, well, he has a, a code that he has to go by too, that he has to perform these actions, because he could be brought up too against, like, are you doing this properly, are you're not looking for things? So he has things to go by as well, government procedures, ethics, all kinds of things that he has to look at as well. Because I knew this is, for a couple of years, we put it out to bid. And the only one that we got back, and it wasn't even that much difference in price, it was that we would be their first test case. And I'm like, ugh. And it was an insurance company. Wasn't it a fire insurance company or something? I forgot, but it was strange.
We do, Paul, they don't do loans, do they?
Not for municipals,
What about Von
That-
Lehman? Does Von Lehman?
not municipals. They used to do my
I think
business.
Von Lehman's been purchased by somebody. I saw their name change up there.
Oh, maybe.
But didn't you ask the advocate show list of some of these?
I did, and they're working on a list too, as well as KLC, and neither one of them has produced a list yet, so we're waiting on that.
Yeah, I wonder if there are any other cities who use a different auditor, because I feel like
No, 'cause
Chamberlain is everywhere.
He is, because I look at other people's audits and I see his name, and I'm like, okay, so, yeah,
Yeah.
unless they're going across the river or something.
And they just changed, used to be a different gentleman that actually ran it. He had the same name as a whiskey drink, I can't think of it.
You mean with John Chamberlain?
Yeah.
I know, I can't think of his name either.
Jack Daniel?
It was something like that, and then he stepped down.
Johnny Walker.
Yeah, Johnny Walker.
It was something like that. But yeah.
Oh, it was, Walker, I do remember that.
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah, there you
But,
go.
so he was the big guy, and then, I guess several years ago, everything seems like 2 years ago, but it's been 10.
It does.
He stepped down and then John took over, so.
But having brought that up, I will say that we've been attentive to every single statement that we've received from the auditor, suggestions on, how to improve our accounting and make it safer and more transparent. We have done every single thing. And we're now like at this really good stage where we're doing all of
We
that.
didn't have any discrepancies, we have a reserve.
It's an important thing because, just something simple like.
2010, there
two
was one
signatures on
signer.
every check. I mean, that's, yeah.
He's
Scary
done a
stuff.
really good job.
Yeah, and we've done a good job.
Exactly, absolutely, like I say. that-
Julie's done a really good job.
Yes,
So
yes,
I'm-
yes.
And Julie's here 25 years now.
I'm starting my 25th year.
That's right. Amen. Anything else on your list?
Thank you. Actually, I do have one more thing. So I would actually like to make a motion, this is going to be a hard one, that the September 29, 2025 special meeting minutes be amended to remove the statement that I was present in the room and acting as an abstention during the roll call vote on resolution number 5, 2025, and to reflect instead that I exited the council chambers prior to the vote being taken. And I want to explain why I want to do this, and I think I have some text for this. I think it should be rather uncontroversial, because it's really very simplified from what I think you've seen before. And I want to do this because really minutes are a factual record of what occurred. And I think we can simplify what's there to make sure that it is just really stating those facts. And this is, I've done a lot of thinking about this because in some respects it's really not, I want to be clear that it's not important that it's about me, but that it's about how our records are kept here in the city. And I think it would actually help smooth a lot of things over in general, and I want us to consider that. So that's my motion for this part of the meeting.
Do you need a second?
Yes.
I'll second.
Can you second a motion for minutes?
I think
You weren't present at the
Yes, I
meeting?
think I can actually vote on that, if I'm not wrong about that.
There is, in Robert's Rules of Order,
In Robert's Rules of Order, it says that you can't leave a meeting in progress without the permission of the mayor.
that we didn't implement the Robert's Rules.
Well, there you go, so why reference it?
But we have now,
We haven't.
well, the mayor has stated that she wanted to follow the
We haven't
Robert's Rules of
adopted
Order.
anything official, but that's okay.
And according to, just to be clear, it should be noted that this is Section 41, Part 11. It should be noted that a member's absence from the meeting for which minutes are being approved does not prevent the member from participating in their correction or approval.
I believe you'll find.
Unless there's a dispute.
Because they-
Mr. Braun and I have looked into this, so.
Because otherwise, we could go back
Doesn't say that.
and we could amend the minutes.
We could amend many
for
minutes.
everything, even the none of us were there,
Well, I think what
which is
I'm,
obviously absurd.
I think what I'm suggesting is something pretty simplified, and I want to call that motion.
So do we do a roll call on that?
Well, you didn't move, they included on the agenda, so I guess you'd have to do that first and then take a vote.
Okay,
But
we can do that.
I move that we amend the agenda to include Sarah's motion to amend the minutes from September 29th.
I'll second.
Can I speak before we make the vote? Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, a second.
I think this is ridiculous. This is water underneath the bridge. We had a lawsuit on it, basically it contended to this. And with Steve not here, I think if anything else, we ought to bring it up at a Congress meeting so all the council people will be here. That was here that night. No disrespect from Mrs. Cardosi or.
You can call me out.
I know, but I was going to call you by your last name. But that's my opinion, so.
Well, and I don't really know what you have there that you're reading.
I can read it out loud if you would prefer that.
But Steve's still not here. I
Right.
mean, he was here that day. But go, I don't, try not to be rude, but this is
Well-
ridiculous, my personal opinion. But go ahead.
I'd like to weigh in and just say that the lawsuit was about this very thing. That was the whole basis of that lawsuit, was the resolution and the minutes change and all that. That was all the basis in that lawsuit. And it was, this motion to dismiss was out there, and then it was withdrawn with not even answering the dismissal. So to me, that means it's ended, it's over. And to change minutes that you disagree with, I think if you want to put in the minutes that you disagree with the minutes of 9/29, put that in tonight's minutes that you've disagreed, and whoever wants to disagree with those minutes, I think that's fair, because I think it's unfair that the lawsuit was even brought. I just have to say this, I think it's unfair that 3 people that voted, there was a motion, a second, and then you read a statement, a prepared statement, you left the camera, the roll call was taken, and so it was 3 to absent, 3-0. And I feel like we're calling 3 other people liars to change the minutes. And that's my point, and I don't know what that even says, but I just think the lawsuit was enough. And the real issue here that really has bothered me for a long time is I called every council person for each of those meetings that we had that were, we had a split vote, we have one lead, all that stuff. And, I thought Mr. Nienaber did what everybody wanted. So we could rehash all that, and I just think it's unfair to point out that there's 3 liars and 1 not. And I think the minutes should stand and what the people that were here.
I think the minutes should reflect exactly what happened, not about anyone's recollection. And I think we've already made a motion to amend tonight's agenda. So I think we should complete that and vote on that.
Well, could I continue, am I allowed to comment?
On the amendment to the meeting?
No, I want to comment on the substance here. And number one, I agree with everything Greg and the mayor said. That action that was undertaken, if I didn't know you better, I would think you did it in a calculated way to cause confusion and division and degradation. Because that's what happened. It's caused terrible division in council, in our city. You know, if you don't like the project and you didn't want to go with it, that's fine. You just say, hey, I don't like it. That's fine. But what happened is, as a result of all this chaos, we got sued. It's cost us roughly $8,000 so far. I mean, that's a lot of money. That's half the park budget. I look at that and I think, what a total waste of the residents' money. Number two, if you had even 5 minutes before you left, stood up and said, you know, I'm not going to vote. Fine, then it would have been totally clear. When there's a first and a second and we're calling roll, I'm focused on that. I'm not focused on what you're doing. You should have done it earlier and made it very clear, hey, I'm leaving, everybody, see you, bye. As I said to you privately, and I'll say it publicly, quorum busting or attempted quorum busting is not viewed positively in any jurisdiction, in any legislative body. In the state, there is an article in our Constitution, Article 37, which permits a minority of a legislative body to call back into session people who are doing that, because it's problematic. They can be fined, they can be censured, all kinds of things. In the 100 years this city has existed, that has never happened before. And I am going to introduce legislation in March or April to make sure it never happens again. And if it does happen, that there are consequences, because this has been very damaging for our community, for the council itself, and ultimately the mayor's right. I mean, it's like, boy, you losers who showed up at the meeting and sat through the whole thing politely and listened, we don't care what you saw. You're going to do what we say. You're calling us liars. And it is, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's offensive. I'm used to that. It's divisive. It's destructive and degrading to our city. And you know what? It's also degrading to the people who presented here, because it made them feel, well, you can speak to them yourselves. But they did think they were doing what you wanted based on their conversations with you, that they engaged with the public, that they presented here for several hours. They actually thought they were satisfying your requests. And they were demonized. They were made to look like they were doing something sleazy. And that's how they feel about it. That's how they perceive it. It's a very bad look for our city. If you don't like a project, that's fine, I get that. You just say, hey, this isn't working for us. But you don't do what's happened here.
I got one other thing. You can speak, Sarah. I apologize, but in my opinion, to the attorney is, and there again, no disrespect for these two, but they weren't even here. How can they change? How can they vote on the minutes just like I wasn't able to? I abstained because I wasn't here. That don't even seem right to me. But I'm like, I don't know the law. That was my kick. So,
My opinion is that the attempt to change the minutes that Sarah wants to do is self-serving, because the minutes are what they are and they were approved. She's correct that Robert's Rules of Order allows for absent members to vote on minutes, but the commentary on that says that the reason for doing it is they assume that the city clerk got it correct. So if you weren't present at the meeting, the better part about it is not to vote on it because you don't know. And what's the ultimate consequence? If you win tonight, we'll come back to the next meeting when Steve is here. There'll be a motion to set that aside, and that'll take it back to where we are.
Forever. Division.
You had a chance with the lawsuit, and you never got a resolution that way. It's water under the bridge or over the dam, or whatever it was you said earlier.
I want to respond to a few things. Number one, this was never about the development for me. I want to be incredibly clear about that.
It might not have been for you, Sarah.
Please don't interrupt me.
Well, I am going to interrupt, because it might not have been for you, but the result of your actions made it that way.
From my perspective, and I think many other people who live in Park Hills, the problem isn't that I left the meeting. The problem is that we took a vote when there wasn't a quorum in the room. And that is the problem that I'm seeing here. We have been trying to redefine what quorum is, which is not appropriate. And I just want to simplify things. I want to clear this up so that we don't have something to dispute going forward.
Sarah,
And please.
I'll stop you right now, because the quorum that you're talking about is your opinion. 3 other people have an opinion that we have a quorum.
Almost as nuts as you.
We have a vote. It states what is clear in the minutes is that there was a 3-0 vote. That is not a quorum.
My legal opinion is it absolutely was, for the reasons I indicated, and there was a chance to address this before the court, and it was withdrawn, so it stands.
Well, I think we should move forward. We have a motion on the floor. I think we should vote on that motion
To amend, correct?
to amend
The agenda.
the agenda first. I think we need to call roll.
I'm so confused. So Laura called to amend the budget, or amend the agenda.
To include Sarah's request to amend the minutes from September 29th.
And who seconded that? Ms. Sayers?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll do a roll call. Mr. Claypool?
No.
Ms. Sayers?
Yes.
Ms. Freilich?
Yes.
Ms. Ford?
No.
Ms. Cardosi?
Yes.
Now the motion to accept the amended minutes.
Yes. Do we need to restate it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to change the minutes?
The motion to amend the minutes pursuant to what?
I can read it again. I move that the September 29, 2025 special meeting minutes be amended to remove the statement that I was present in the room and acting as an abstention during the roll call vote on resolution number 5, 2025, and to reflect instead that I exited the council chambers prior to the vote being taken. That's the motion.
Oh, I'll second.
Mr. Claypool?
No.
Ms. Sayers?
Yes.
Ms. Freilich?
Yes.
Ms. Ford?
No.
And Ms. Cardosi?
Yes.
Do we want to go back and how far should we go back?
I think we're done here.
Well, should we go back and amend the minutes all the way back through the 90s? None of us were there, but apparently we can amend them.
Are there errors?
This is an embarrassment to our city, and the division that's been created is not conducive to getting good things done for our residents. We aren't here to play with process. We are here to do good things for our residents.
I think the process has been
Are we on new business? I'm sorry, are we still on new business?
new business.
Well, Mr. Conway, I'm sorry, are you done? I'm sorry, sir, are you done?
I am finished. Thank you.
Mr. Conway talked to me about an issue coming up. People like to speak, and I know the sign-up sheet, if he's still like, you want to still bring that up, Mr. Conway? Does he have a minute where he's got an issue to bring up?
Sure.
I'll be brief. Mike Conway, thank you. Like every company, their images and logos are protected, just like other municipalities. That is our logo, City of Park Hills. It can be amended, it can be changed, but today that's our logo. We also have images of Park Hills that appear on our website, appear throughout the city. The old fire engine and the Memorial Day Parade is kind of a hallmark of Park Hills. I would like to see the city take additional protective actions and submit our logo and our other images that we want to protect to the Kentucky Secretary of State so that they are filed and are protected. Even though today they are protected because we have a first use on those logos. This was brought up by confusion that has existed with someone who is infringing on that logo, and that is the Park Hills Neighborhood Group. I believe the city asked, I think Mr. Braun, you sent a letter of cease and desist. They modified our logo. It's still an image of basically the trees, the shape of the house, the fonts are all the same. And I think we should send another cease and desist letter that they cannot use that image or anyone else to use that image because it causes confusion by our residents and people outside of our city who look to these web pages. And in the era of AI, we're going to be facing this many, many times down the road. So I would ask that council look to adopt a ordinance to protect the logo, to send our images and our logo to the Secretary of State, get it filed officially, but stop this rogue use of our image of our city on this webpage, Facebook page. Thank you.
Mr. Conway, thank you very much for coming tonight and sitting through all of this to make a very important point. I completely support what you're saying. I think it's important that there's clarity when statements are made, who's making them, that they're official from the city, and that logo helps clarify that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And there's a lot of other people in the city, what is the right logo? What is the one we're supposed to be listening to? What, so I think it's very important also. Thank you.
Just a
Mr. Conway.
conversation on branding in general, making sure we have consistent branding.
Are we finished?
Do I have a motion to?
Do we want to discuss committee reports?
I'll make a motion.
We have a second on adjourning?
We are going to do committees?
Oh.
I'll second.
Yeah, I have an appointment that I'm really late for. So,
So we have a first and a second on adjournment. What time is it? I can't see.
7:42.
All in favor?
Okay, so